25 of 25. It is the series that we've been working so hard on, and it is coming to an end in a little bit of a different way. You might be asking why. You just did number 3. That means you have 2 shows left. Wrong. 1 show left. Dwyane Wade, LeBron James, showdown. It's the finale coming up.
You are Locked On Heat, your daily Miami Heat podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks again for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. This is our 25 of 25 series, looking back at the top 25 Heat players of the last 25 seasons. Each episode, we'll be taking an in-depth look at every player who made the list, as voted on by us in our Locked On Heat Insider community through the lens of what made them a definitive part of the franchise's history. Jimmy Butler checked in at number 3. And now we've reached, David, the final 2, and we're going to do something a little bit different to wrap up our rankings here. If you've been following along, it's no surprise who the last 2 players standing are. It's Dwyane Wade and it's LeBron James. Should not be any surprise based on the last 25 years. And generally, while we had consensus throughout this process, the vote here, David, was close enough for the number 1 spot that we thought we could decide it live on this episode. So today, what we're doing is we'll be pinning D Wade against LeBron, the Heat GOAT versus the NBA GOAT. We'll get to some of our usual categories, trivia, sliding doors, and then we're going to break down each player's career in Miami by comparing their best seasons, their biggest moments, their impact on the franchise, and their polarizing exits. Let's start with the resumes. Obviously, with Dwyane Wade, right? Spent, for the most part, his entire career with the Heat, though there was a brief sojourn to Chicago and Cleveland that we'd rather not talk about. But 15 years in Miami after coming back. This guy made the All-Star team for 10 straight seasons in Miami. Or it was 11 straight seasons in Miami. 11 straight seasons in Miami. Never won an MVP, but came dang close. Was 3rd in MVP votes in 2009. Top 5 in 2010. Did get votes during the Big 3 era, and most importantly, is on top of so many Heat leaderboards where you're talking about points, field goals, minutes played, games played, assists, all these things. Dwyane Wade is at or near the top in almost every statistical Heat category, and he has 3 championships in 2006, 2012, and 2013. He has 5 NBA Finals appearances. His arrival in Miami started really the greatest era in Heat history, the Dwyane Wade era, which obviously spanned from 2003 to arguably 2019 when he ultimately retired. The resume for LeBron James, it was only 4 years instead of 15 years, but boy, was it a very strong 4 years. 2-time back-to-back MVP in Miami in 2012 and 2013, got robbed in 2011 because everybody hated him and they gave it to Derrick Rose instead. Won 2 championships over those 4 seasons, won to 4 straight NBA Finals. The Big 3 Heat were the toast of the town, the talk of the league. ESPN had a Heat Index, a whole website dedicated to this freaking team. It was a landmark event, and it was all ushered in with LeBron James. So those are the resumes of their Heat tenure, David. Let's get into some trivia. I prepared the trivia for D Wade. You prepared the trivia for LeBron.
Absolutely. Let's get to LeBron first. He announced his decision to join the Miami Heat on national television on July 8, 2010. What organization were proceeds from the event donated to?
Boys and Girls Club.
Okay. Do you know the specific Boys and Girls Club?
Of Cleveland or Akron or whatever.
No, actually, it was Greenwich, Connecticut, for some reason, where they filmed it. Yeah, it was.
Oh, I guess that's you got to do it for outside of Bristol. That's ridiculous. I get points for Boys and Girls Club. Come on.
Who was the reporter who interviewed him during his decision?
Gray. Jim Gray. Yeah.
Very good. Who I think fell off the face of the earth after that. Like, that was it.
Almost immediately. Like, he did that as his swan song, and it was like, all right, I'm out. I'm John Elway winning a Super Bowl. See ya.
Yep. Exactly right. All right. How many points did James average in his first finals appearance with Miami in 2011?
Against the Mavericks. Wasn't it like 17 or something?
Yeah. 17.8 points per game.
There we go.
17.8. Yeah. Less than Chris Bosh, I'll remind you. So clearly he struggled in that first year. A lot of people point to JJ Barea. I think that was just like the largest indicator that LeBron was struggling in that series, where it looked like Barea was able to keep LeBron from getting to his comfortable spots and stuff like that. But I think the reality was he was I don't know if necessarily scared of the moment is the right term either. He just looked unsure of himself.
Well,
in
if
a
you
way
ask
that
Mario Chalmers, that's exactly what it was.
Uh,
Was the Jim Gray one an actual trivia question? Do I get a point for that, or was that just like
No.
a follow-up?
That was
Okay.
just an aside. Yeah, that was an aside there. This is the third and last trivia question. LeBron set a career high for points in a March 3rd game versus the Charlotte Bobcats in 2014. How many points did he score for a half point? And how many three-pointers did he hit en route?
56. Is that right?
That is incorrect. That is incorrect.
Higher or lower?
You missed your guess already, but higher.
Right, now, I won't take the points, but I'm interested in the game. Higher or lower?
Higher.
62.
Close. You're off.
I should know LeBron's Heat career high. That's ridiculous. Am I
61
what
points.
Is it? 61?
61 points versus the Bobcats.
6 3-pointers.
Close. He hit his first 8, then missed 2 afterwards.
That's not very close. 8 is way more than 2 from 3-point range. That's a hell of a game. LeBron's a hell of a player. So what I got 2 points on that one. I'll take
2 points. Yeah.
I don't even know where we stand right now. I haven't done the math yet. Okay, so Dwyane Wade trivia. You ready?
Yeah.
Who gave him the nickname Flash, and how did he feel about it at first?
Shaquille O'Neal didn't like it.
That's right. Didn't like it because he didn't really think of himself as fast.
Right.
That's why he didn't like it. He's like, I'm not a speed guy. And we're like, have you watched you play? You're very fast.
maybe quick twitch more than anything else, like explosive in a way that a lot of players weren't. Like end-to-end speed, not Russell Westbrookian. In his prime, Westbrook was faster than anybody. But Dwyane able to shift gears very quickly at an elite, maybe even
just
historically good level.
It's crazy watching D Wade highlights. And when we watch the 2006 finals, it's just like he's out here, like he gets the ball in that like Iverson spot, like 18 feet away from the basket. And then he's like at the basket.
Yeah.
It was, and you're right. It's not like this John Morant, Russell Westbrook, Derrick Rose in his prime, like jumping over people, even though he certainly could and did do that, Anderson Varejao. Yes. But like, he would just sidestep, Euro step, ball comes up, ball's down, and then he's at the bat. And you're just like, what just happened? How did nobody could stop it? It's crazy.
I made the point at the time when we were talking about, I would watch a lot of old film of like Jordan era highlights, like before his peak, which I was able to watch on television, but like videos of like his 60-something point game against the Boston Celtics in a playoff, and how different he was. Like he was like the one explosive athlete and a team that was kind of like, oh, okay, he's doing something, but I'm not prepared physically to watch this happening. That's a lot of what we saw in 2006. Like Dwyane was just a better, faster, stronger athlete at a time when a lot of guys were supposed to be able to compete. They just couldn't. They couldn't stop.
Alonzo Mourning ranks first in this statistical category among all-time Heat players. Dwyane Wade ranks second. What stat is this?
Ooh.
Mourning is first. D Wade is second.
Blocks.
Blocks is correct. Alonzo Mourning, 1,625. Can you name how many? Do you know how many blocks Dwyane Wade had?
Most ever for a player 6'4" or shorter. 800 something.
812. Very good. Zoe has twice as many, but that doesn't matter. D Wade is second. In the 2006 NBA Finals, Dwyane Wade averaged 34.7 points per game. That was the third highest scoring average in Finals history at the time. You know what I'm about to ask you? Which two players ranked above him at the time? Since then, I think Giannis broke that. I think I have that right. But at the time,
in Finals history, Michael Jordan.
41 points per game in 1993.
Larry Bird?
No. Different white guy.
Jerry West?
No. Good guess, though. That was a really good guess. Rick Barry. 36.3 in 1967.
Yep.
So there it is. So you got 2 of them, and I got 2 of them. So nothing much changed after that trivia. On the other side of this, we'll get to our sliding doors moment. Then finally, decide head-to-head who is the greatest Heat player of the last 25 years, Dwyane Wade or LeBron James.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure that you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. You'll love using FanDuel. It fits however you like to bet, whether it's player props or building a same-game parlay or maybe even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the best way to add a little bit more energy to your Sundays. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. We'll be right back.
Okay, so before we get to our head-to-head categories, we have our sliding doors moments. David, I think we've talked about these quite a bit for these two players, just kind of discussing some other players that came in on our rankings. But LeBron, Dwyane Wade, sliding doors moment. For Wade, I think it's the broken ribs in the 2005 Eastern Conference Finals. We've talked about that. Does he get his first championship in 2005 as opposed to 2006? Is there an opportunity to perhaps win back-to-back championships? Does that just change the way we think about that Heat era, about Dwyane Wade? I think he's much closer to Kobe Bryant than people have him. I think if he wins that championship, though, there's a legit argument that he might be consensus the second greatest shooting guard of all time over Kobe. But obviously that didn't happen. I don't know. Do you have another sliding doors moment for D Wade?
Yeah, to me, actually, it's the 2006 finals. Like, that's such a huge moment for him. It's so pivotal in how we kind of view him, because I think he might not be viewed as an all-time great without it. Like, he would be a great player, certainly recognized as such, but his performance was so dominant. Like, you talked about being the third leading scorer in NBA Finals history at the time. Like, it was such a monumental performance at a time when no one expected him to be that type of player necessarily, that it really, I think, cemented him. And we talked about it, like watching those games and the kind of way he was discussed by announcers. Like, he was a star on the rise, sure, but they were, over the course of the series, he was getting those comparisons to Michael Jordan in a way that nobody quite expected to. And so that's how he established himself as one of the top stars in the game, in the league. And I think that's what kind of cemented his legacy, really, more than anything else.
For LeBron, I have the 2011 finals. What if he's just good and they win? And we're talking about the start of the Big Three era. We're starting with a championship right away, immediate success, zero questions asked. That team, I think, has a monkey off its back at that point. I think the next year is even easier. Like the 66 win team that we saw 2012 to 2013, I think you see that 2011, 2012, because there's that sense of relief and they could play with that. I think the run is just so much more dominant, and the Heat then are considered one of the all-time great teams, which I don't know that they're considered that right now.
The era was small.
It was too small, and honestly, 2 out of 4 was a little disappointing, considered all the pomp and circumstance that they arrived with, right? Which super entitled and spoiled to say, but it's true. So that's what I had for LeBron.
But they don't get Shane Battier. He joins the San Antonio Spurs instead, and who knows what that team becomes then. Like, maybe they become even better. Imagine Shane on those Spurs teams that evolved to the incredible group that they were.
Yeah.
To me, it's
LeBron also doesn't have the 2011 finals blotch on his resume, which is, if you do a LeBron versus MJ comparison, Jordan just doesn't have that. He just doesn't have that pie in your face moment on the biggest stage. He just doesn't have it, and that might be the ultimate thing. And LeBron doesn't have it, he probably is just the undisputed GOAT. I don't know, maybe not, but certainly doesn't have that part of the argument.
I don't want to say too much of it, but it's the exit in 2014.
Okay, so let's do this. Head-to-head categories. This is how we're going to decide who the greatest Heat player of the last 25 seasons ultimately is. We're going to talk about best season, best moment, worst exit, and bigger franchise impact. We're going to start with our best seasons. For Dwyane Wade, it's the 2008, 2009 season, I think, unless you disagree with me, David.
No, clearly one of the best seasons. Yeah.
30.5 points per game, 5 rebounds, 7.5 assists on 49% shooting, 2.2 steals, 1.3 blocks, finished third in MVP. The Heat won 43 games that season, with Michael Beasley being their second leading scorer, averaging 13.9 points per game. That team stunk. It's a miracle that team won 43 games, and it's solely because of Dwyane Wade. It's one of the all-time great seasons by a guard, no question. It's also one of the most wasted seasons for a player in NBA history. Now, hard to dispute it, because it obviously led to the formation of the Big Three.
Right.
But it does Dwyane Wade's greatest seasons were kind of wasted waiting for LeBron James to arrive, and this is it.
But it was easy to have that kind of great individual season when no other players there to kind of carry the load. And we saw Dwyane, and he talked about it in his enshrinement in the Hall of Fame, that the one thing that he thought defined his career was sacrifice and being able to take a step back when Shaq joined the team, taking a step back when LeBron joined, etc. Like all the different things he did to sacrifice himself and his individual numbers. He said it, and we believe it. When you look at this kind of monster season, he could have been a guy that kind of just hijacked an offense. He could have put up these kind of monsters all the time and maybe been viewed more along the lines of a Kobe, but he didn't. He prioritized winning over said, individual.
And by the way, like this wasn't empty stats, right? He shot, his numbers were efficient. He still averaged 7.5 assists to players that couldn't shoot. Like had he had good teammates, he might have averaged 10 assists per game. I don't know. The guy was a monster that year. I've never seen a better season by a guard individually than that year with Dwyane Wade.
Yeah, it was the MVP. He didn't get it, unfortunately.
And I don't blame him for not getting it. The Heat won 43 games. I really don't blame people for not voting him to MVP. But I'll tell you this, nobody was better that year. There wasn't a better player in the league that year. So whatever that means is what that means. LeBron's best season, I have it as the 2012-2013 season. He won back-to-back MVPs. It's got to be one of them. I have the second MVP year. He averaged 27, 8, and 7 on 56% shooting. That was the year where he went like a month shooting like 70% from the field. And what was that? I think it was the same year too, where he went like 20 straight games without fouling anybody.
Yeah.
Or something. It was
ridiculous.
He was just making up stats. Like, he was just making up records. Like, what do you mean he went 20? Nobody talks about how many straight games he went without fouling. Like, Jaren Jackson Jr. could never. And then it was like, LeBron's like, yep, here's a new stat for you to keep track of. 1.7 steals, 0.9 blocks. Like I said, back-to-back MVP, second in Defensive Player of the Year behind Marc Gasol, who, to LeBron's point, didn't even make first-team All-Defense that year and won Defensive Player of the Year.
Wow. Yeah.
LeBron got robbed of Defensive Player of the Year.
That kind of a defensive impact, and you don't foul anybody. Like, I don't even know what that means. And it felt
it's so true.
Yeah, it felt like we were watching a player to me that I felt like a lot like Shaquille O'Neal, and that his just never quite reached his full potential, but he was so dominant. I mean, like he could have just like this was the best of LeBron, the very best. Whatever we saw in Cleveland, Los Angeles, even before in Cleveland, nothing compares to those 4 seasons in Miami, because it was really him
with the league. He did whatever he wanted. He was like, he literally was like, I'm just going to shoot out the low post for a week and a half. And he was like, yep, I'm just going to do that. Now I'm going to just take a bunch of threes. And there was like a period where he's just taking threes towards the end of the regular season. I'm just going to start chucking threes, making them. Started making threes for the first time in his career. The Heat won 66 games that year, and obviously the championship. I do think that factors in, but I don't want to factor the team success in too much. It should be a factor, but I don't want it to be the overwhelming number one factor here. So between these two seasons, David, LeBron in 2012, 2013, Dwyane Wade in 2008, 2009, what's the best season head-to-head?
That's a tough one. I think ultimately it's Dwyane. It's just without the gift of hindsight. I mean, we watched the series when it was played out, but I don't think I recall. I don't know. Like it's a tough one. Again, LeBron able to do things that nobody else could, kind of finally coming into his own with a confidence that we hadn't seen from him yet. And yet Dwyane was such a singular force. And that's, to me, what kind of stands out is that he really was a singular force. And he shouldn't be penalized just because he was counting on a boneheaded Michael Beasley or Mario Chalmers in that starting lineup. Like he shouldn't be. Like he was better individually than LeBron was. LeBron had one of the all-time great teams with 4 other Hall of Famers on that roster.
So I put this out to a Twitter poll. 75% of our audience agrees with you. It's Dwyane Wade. I don't think this is close, David. I think this is clearly LeBron. It's clearly LeBron James. 27, 8, and 7 on 56% shooting. 1.7 steals, 0.9 blocks, won the MVP. His defensive impact was beyond measure. And again, the team did win 66 games. And I don't know that I told you nobody in the league was better than Dwyane Wade in 2009. I don't know that anybody in the history of the NBA was better than LeBron in 2013. Like, I really don't. That might be the best version of a player we've ever seen. I love D Wade. You know this. He's my guy. He's the reason I do what I do. LeBron is clearly the guy who had the best season out of these 2 seasons. As great as D Wade's season is, it has to be LeBron.
I don't know. I don't know that I agree with that. I think that's pretty up for debate.
Well, that's what we're doing. Why? What makes Wade's season better than LeBron's?
The numbers are better.
Not really. He scored
slightly
3 more points per game on 49% shooting. LeBron had 56% shooting.
But you have to put it in context of what those teams were like. Like, he's sharing the floor with Beasley, Chalmers, with Sean Marion. Like,
did that make it easier or harder for Wade to score more? Because you can make the argument LeBron, by being on the court with Bosh and Dwyane Wade, the fact that he was still able to put up these numbers is a testament to his dominance.
But by that point, they had fully leaned into the LeBron-centric universe, which led them to the most successful era. So, yeah, that's fine. I get that. I think you can make the argument in both cases. I would lean that in Dwyane's case, it was harder for him because you're not worrying about anybody else. You're not trying to stop anybody else. And in fact, you saw a lot of 3-on-1 coverage, and he was still able to put up the points that he did. Whereas LeBron, you're going to give him space. All right, good luck. Now you got Dwyane Wade or Chris Bosh able to put up those numbers, or Ray Allen or Shane Battier or somebody else. There was so many different options in that team that was so good that, he was the driving force, and yet you had a lot of complementary help that Dwyane did not have.
All right. Let's move past this, and if we need to revisit it, we will. But let's go on to our next categories.
Today's episode is brought to you by Skims. When I found out that Skims was making underwear for men, I was curious. I'm intrigued. I've heard so much about their quality from friends and family. I had to give it a try, and let me tell you, it lives up to the hype. I've always had issues with underwear, with its fit, comfort, or maybe just finding the right style for me, and Skims has changed all that. Their men's line offers something for everyone, from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed with a perfect balance of comfort and style. I tried the Skims boxer brief, and let me tell you, I'm hooked. They're perfect for my lifestyle. They move with me. They never lose their shape, and they stay in place all day. Whether I'm working out, running errands, hanging out with my son, they're the most comfortable and reliable underwear I've ever owned. Plus, the lightweight material feels amazing, almost like you're wearing nothing at all. So right now, go shop Skims Men at skims.com. Let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcasts in the survey and select our show in the drop-down menu that follows. That's skims.com. We'll be right back.
Biggest moment. I'm going to tell you what I had for both players. You tell me if you disagree. For Dwyane Wade, and biggest moment is vague. It could be in a single shot, a series, a game.
Yeah.
I didn't really For D Wade, it's the 2006 finals to me.
Yeah.
35, 8, and 4. Dominated. Brings the Heat back from 0-2. We did a whole rewatch series. Go watch it. LeBron, Game 6 versus Celtics in 2012, or the decision itself. I prefer to go with the on-court thing if we're going to go on, because Dwyane Wade's biggest moment is an on-court thing. It's just really hard to debate the decision versus the 2006 finals. So I'm going to go saving the Big Three era with a masterclass in Boston in the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals versus the 2006 Finals. I think this one's really easy too, but do you think that those are the two moments that we could distill to?
I think those were basically it stands out. For LeBron, again, his individual moment just was a single game, because he felt like he was more capable perhaps of having those big moments more consecutively, but never quite so dominant as what we saw from Dwyane Wade. So I think pretty clearly it's Dwyane. Dwyane's biggest moment was bigger than LeBron's biggest moment.
No question. No debate here. Franchise impact. So we have 1 point for Dwyane Wade, still split on best season. 1 point for Dwyane Wade. Franchise impact. This is an interesting. I think most people it's Dwyane Wade, obviously, right? Let me make the case for LeBron. LeBron turned the Heat into the Heatles for 4 seasons. It's called the Heatles for a reason, right? Beatlemania took over the world for 8 years, and then it was gone. That's what LeBron and the Heatles were. It took over the NBA. We have never seen a super team quite like it. And the Heat as an organization never got that kind of attention before or after, because all of that attention left with LeBron. It was gone when LeBron left. And Dwyane Wade never really had that level of a national impact where literally now you go to anywhere in the world and you can find Heat fans. Dwyane Wade didn't create that. LeBron did. LeBron and Dwyane Wade and Chris Bosh, to be fair. But it doesn't happen without LeBron. He's the most important ingredient in that. That would be my argument for LeBron in terms of franchise impact. When you consider the franchise evaluation, what he meant, what that era meant to Miami as a city, what it meant to the organization, all of it. None of it happens without LeBron. So that's my argument for LeBron.
I really think it is actually LeBron. I think it's a kind of chicken and egg argument. Like, you don't have the LeBron years without Dwyane being the stepping stone to build on. The fact that he was a friend of LeBron, that he established championship culture, and he was, you know, proven already this franchise knows how to win a title, etc. And yet, I think none of that matters. Like, let's say you win in 2006 and LeBron doesn't come to Miami. What's this era recognized for? What is that team known for? What is Dwyane known for? So I think the team just doesn't become synonymous with being able to lure players. Like, still to this day, we're talking about players taking their talents to South Beach.
Yeah,
LeBron James.
Yeah, because he said it.
Because he said it. So I think it's LeBron. Like, in terms of
interesting.
Yeah, biggest kind of national, broader view impact, certainly LeBron. Within the context of maybe helping set something, Dwyane clearly, because he was here. He was drafted by the team. He helped build something. Greatest he player in franchise history over the last 25 years. You can make a pretty strong argument, and I think that LeBron has kind of just he put Miami on the map in a way that nobody else had. Not Dwyane, not even Shaq in 2004, and nobody else has.
I know I laid out the pro LeBron argument, but I think it's Dwyane. I think it's Dwyane.
I mean, you can't.
He has a statue.
Yeah,
he has a statue.
That's because of our next category, though. That's what it is.
Every championship was won with Dwyane Wade on the roster. There are no championships without Dwyane Wade. Period. End of story. The Heat draft Dwyane Wade in 2003. Everything is different after that. Everything. He is Jesus Christ for the Miami Heat. There is a before Dwyane Wade and an after Dwyane Wade. It's all different. And LeBron doesn't come to Miami if not for Dwyane Wade.
No, yeah.
And he definitely doesn't come to Miami if not for Dwyane Wade winning in 2006. Dwyane Wade's the reason for everything. When you kind of just go down the list of the greatest things that have ever happened to the Heat, Dwyane Wade is a part of the equation, whether it's LeBron coming in 2010 or Jimmy Butler coming in 2019, like anything. Bam Adebayo, still to this day, we'll talk about how much Dwyane Wade was formative to him in his first couple seasons in Miami. Bam Adebayo isn't who he is without Dwyane Wade. He doesn't learn the pump fake without Dwyane Wade, right? Like, all of this stuff, it all goes back to Dwyane. And you can have a real argument, and Heat fans will make this argument, that D. Wade is more responsible for Miami's championship success than Pat Riley himself.
It's not a bad argument either.
It's not a bad argument. He's got a freaking statue outside. When you're talking about franchise impact, that's impact. He ought to own a portion of the team, David. Like, yep. I think it's got to be Dwyane. It's got to be Dwyane.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Worst exit. I want to know where you're at. You're sort of our exit czar throughout these rankings, so I want to know where you're at here.
No contest. Like, Dwyane already had such an impact with the team, and you kind of just felt an unfortunate parting of the ways. Like, well, he wants something else in terms of money, but his best days were clearly behind him, and you could understand the franchise not wanting to pay him the same kind of money. And it was a sting. It hurt in a way that LeBron's departure didn't. Because it just felt like he was never going to leave. It was just the unfortunate divorce nobody ever saw coming, and that was really a difficult moment to see him in another jersey. It just felt kind of creepy to see him in that, and then the Cleveland Cavaliers jersey just never should have happened. But LeBron's exit was so sudden.
Yeah,
and was just so unexpected because for 4 years he leaned to it so completely. And I'll carry this one to my grave. Like, I don't think LeBron has ever been happier than he was during those 4 years. It was LeBron coming into his own. Like, the commercials were him about embracing life in South Florida. Remember that Nike commercial where he starts going for a run, or no, riding on a bike,
biking. Yep.
And the whole city follows after him.
He used to bike to the arena. He used to take that mile bike ride to the arena. He was reading. That was when he started to fake to read books. Started pretending to read books. That was there. Tackling fans who made half-court shots for big checks. We've never seen that level of LeBron happiness ever.
Right. So he made us believe that he was one of us, and we defended him to the death. Like, after after the first few years of his career, where he kind of be like, "Oh, LeBron is this, LeBron is that." I used to think it too. Like, I used to think I was a fan at that point. LeBron kind of baiting referees for foul calls. Maybe he's not that great. Kind of leaning into a lot of the media narratives at that point in time. And then he joins the team, and you watch him and you see what he has to put up with. It's like, you know what? This guy's put up with a lot. He's actually a much better player than even I thought at that point in time. And he was one of us, and we defended him. It was us.
Nobody has ever defended, no fan base. I don't care what you say, Cleveland.
No.
The Lakers barely defend him.
No. It's Kobe.
No defense. No defense. No fan base has ever defended LeBron with the veracity that Heat fans defended LeBron. Nobody ever had LeBron's back the way that Heat fans had LeBron's back. The entire world turned on him in an instant, and Heat fans welcomed him and embraced him and said, "You're one of us. We know what it's like. We've done this before. We were fans of the 80s Hurricanes. We were fans of Dolphins teams that nobody liked. We know how to do this. Welcome, welcome." And he left, and he turned his back on it. To me, look, there's an emotional toll that you could say that maybe Dwyane Wade had the worst exit because it hurts so bad the way that you laid out, David. But if I'm trying to award points to one player or the other, to me, like, Dwyane Wade, you could argue was the organization's fault, right?
Right.
Like, that's Pat Riley's fault. That's the Heat front office's fault. You can make the argument. With LeBron, it is that is at his feet. The buck stops at LeBron. He's the reason why he left. Nobody else's fault. I don't care that Pat Riley called them out, but that you think LeBron gives a bleep about that? No way. He went back to Cleveland, where Dan Gilbert took out a Comic Sans letter against him. You think he cares about what Pat Riley? No, he would. If you wanted to be in Miami, he would have been, regardless of what Pat Riley said in 2014. So, to me, LeBron had the worst exit in terms of individually kind of spurning a fan base. So that's a point for Dwyane Wade, because that's how that works. So that's 3-0 Wade. Will you give LeBron the best season so that he doesn't get swept?
Sure. Yeah, it's game 2 of the 2011 finals, right? Like, it's okay. You get this one. Yeah, no, that's fine. I think that's fine. LeBron had the better season, yeah. But yeah, I think when we're looking overall, number 1 versus number 2 all time, or over the last 25 years, can't tell the story of the Miami Heat without Dwyane Wade. LeBron, a big part of it, as big a part as there is, but nobody bigger in telling that story than Dwyane.
Well said. And I said it at the beginning. You've got the NBA GOAT. You've got the Miami Heat GOAT. Dwyane Wade. Sorry, LeBron. It's another loss in the finals for you. Congratulations to Dwyane Wade. You are the number 1 Heat player over the last 25 seasons. Thanks to everybody who tuned in during the series, that listened to every episode. If you want to catch them, I mean, this stuff is evergreen. Go back and listen to them. We had a lot of fun, David, doing this. Absolutely. This was a lot of fun going back the last 25 years and trying to break down Heat history in this way. I think it was a worthwhile exercise. And media day is on Monday. Training camp starts right after that. The NBA season is here. Thanks you all for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day.